Well, if you're a regular viewer of CB24 Breakfast, you know we've been sharing stories of how the U.S. tariffs are impacting companies in the auto and in steel and aluminum sectors, as well as municipalities and cities and towns. But the tension between Canada and our neighbor, it goes far beyond these industries. A Toronto medical technology company has now filed for bankruptcy protection after American investors pulled back, endangering 125 jobs. The co-founder of Synaptive Medical, Piron, joins us live here this morning to talk more about the issues and challenges here. This tariff situation here, Donald Trump alluded to it, but we weren't really sure how real it was. It's very real to you, Cameron. Can you explain what this has done to Synaptive? You talk about 125 jobs. Yeah. Is that your entire company?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so it's quite unprecedented to have tariffs on medical devices. Mm-hmm. Usually it's exempt. So it has an impact for both the costs of what we're producing, but also what we're exporting. Yeah. And what we found recently, the impact really becomes clear on investment. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, we've talked a lot about how, you know, maybe investors would be concerned about investing in Canada because of the tariff threat. Your company is really the kind of living example of this, unfortunately. You've had so much investment coming in, I think $300 million, but all of a sudden your U.S. backers are backing out. What are they saying about exactly why they're doing this? Is it they just feel this is a risk to their capital?
Yeah, they're really entrenching and focusing on their home markets. So mm-hmm. It is an additional risk, and investors tend to flee from risk. They end up being more focused on mm-hmm. what they understand, and their home market becomes more of a focus.
Is this kind of like the sand just like rushing away from your feet as the ocean kind of pulls back out? Is that what it feels like?
Oh, absolutely. So $300 million of investment. We were taking in another $25 million US, and we became 10% of the way to our goal. So very, very traumatic for us.
So what can you do? What are you doing to try to restructure, save? How do you describe what you're doing right now, Cameron?
That's right. We're going through a CCAA process, and there's two paths. There's either sale or there's solicitation of investment. And so we're going through that process now as of yesterday.
Okay, so what pre-tariffs, talk about your company, the growth you've been having, the success you've been having cross-border, you know, medical technologies, as you said, typically not, you know, subject to tariffs. Yeah. Talk about those days, if you would, to give us a contrast.
Sure. So we were founded 12 years ago. We've had very steady growth. We've been able to bring really mature products to market. In the Canadian context, we've never had an MRI system being developed in Canada. Mm-hmm. So a huge evolution of the products. We're shipping them around the world. 90% of our market is outside of Canada, 65% in the U.S. We have hundreds of publications. We've done 35,000 cases with our technology. Mm-hmm. It's really come to an exciting point in the company. We need that little extra to bring it the rest of the way.
And when you talk about so much of your business being outside of Canada, that makes you extremely sensitive to the tariff situation here. Is there a way in your restructuring that is the market big enough in Canada to support the products and what you sell, or is it just that's not a reality for you?
The need in Canada is tremendous. We have wait times, we have backlogs in surgery, we have backlogs in imaging. There's a tremendous opportunity here to support a much bigger Canadian market. Mm-hmm. But today, 90% of our market is export. So we do need a transition to be able to support more in Canada.
Absolutely. So on that, you know, we just talked, for example, with Tony Chapman about, you know, RBC and Canadian Tire coming together, sort of having a supportive brand system. And Tony's talking about trying to roll out something more, you know, locally where all, you know, a rising tide kind of lifts all ships. Is there an opportunity? You've said there's a need there. Do you think the Canadian market could do that? Could bring Synaptive in a little more and help you out? Or what do you see as the roadblocks to that?
Absolutely. I think for a long time, we haven't had the sophistication of medical devices in Canada to serve all aspects. But today we have incredible X-ray, ultrasound, MR, surgical imaging, ultrasound for catheterization. We can now support our own market. It's a pretty big evolution in what's happened. And we do think now it's time to support the Canadian companies in medtech like people have done very aggressively in other industries as well.
Yeah, I suppose it's just such a different, you know, it's not something you can go to the store and just pick up an MRI, right? It's a completely different kind of product here. What do you hear from your colleagues and counterparts in the industry or kind of related fields, whether it's healthcare or otherwise, about what's happened here and the potential concerns to actual healthcare and saving lives?
Yeah, I believe we're a bit of a canary in the coal mine. We're hearing this from our other peers and CEOs that are having a very difficult time finding fundraising, just like ourselves did. Yeah. And there's a bigger impact here. It could be a domino effect. Yeah. This is not just for the company. It's not just for the people we serve in Canada and in the healthcare industry, but it's suppliers as well. We actually make MRI systems with steel from Hamilton. We turn them into entire systems in London, Ontario. We equip them in Toronto. We ship them around the world. So there's a supply chain at risk here as well.
Okay, well, it is a Canadian success story that, of course, is facing challenging times. Good luck, Cameron. Appreciate you joining us this morning here on CP24 Breakfast. Really appreciate this, and good luck as you go forward. Thank you so much.